Hey, you guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Richard Sachs, and this is Lost Arts Radio Live, the safe stream version, so that we can pay homage to the appropriate community guidelines and things like that. So hope that you enjoy it. The real challenge here, of course, is to be able to say what's really going on and what's true and still not disappear from mainstream channels like this. But if we can hold that together for a little while more, that would be great. The purpose of that really is to give you a flavor of what we're talking about on the real uncensored show, which is elsewhere. And you can certainly find that if you make an effort to do that. Go to lostartsradio.com and stay in touch with us there. And I'd suggest that you do it before you forget, because people just see the disappearance of different channels and things like that, say, boy, I wonder where they went. I'll just have to go back to listening to how to make cakes or something. And nothing wrong with listening to how to make cakes. It's just there's other things, that millions of other channels that have disappeared, or their content has disappeared from these major channels, and you have to stay in touch with that, or you'll never be able to get that information again, and we hope that won't happen. So that's the reason I'm controlling myself and being as careful as I can. And it was suggested to me before the show that becoming strong and waking yourself up and protecting your kids, which is the title that we put on the show today, safe stream version, is really not very safe. And, recommending to become strong, that could be pretty questionable. And waking up, that implies not staying asleep. So you might have to issue a retraction and an apology on that if we're going to stay here. And protecting your kids, forget it. You're supposed to hand them over to all of the major institutions who will take care of them for you, and you just won't have to worry about it anymore. So I don't know how long we can do this, but there is an uncensored version, and you can go to lostartsradio.com and find out where we still are. Unfortunately, there's a lot of non-censoring and free speech-oriented platforms. Just go to lostartsradio.com before we disappear here, and you won't be wondering, where did those guys go? Providing that you're interested in the stuff we talk about. And we always relate the safe stream version to the real version of Lost Arts Radio Live, which is not really safe to post on this channel anymore. So, but I try to talk about the parts of it that I can in a very nice and safe way that could never offend anybody, and would show that we're not breaking anybody's standards or anything like that. And today's Lost Arts Radio Live show is about telling the truth related to and then have to censor that word. You're going to have to develop your psychic abilities, basically, and tell by intuition what I can't tell you. But telling the truth about a major event that started last March of 2020, actually, officially, and is still going on, and was supposed to last 15 days and has lasted 14 and a half months, and was a fraud from the beginning. You're not supposed to know about that. If you do know about it, you're not supposed to tell the truth about it. It's very important. And the solution that's being offered for it, health-wise, if you know the truth about that, you're certainly not supposed to talk about that either. So this is a really challenging situation. It's like certain kinds of stores, when what they sold was banned, related to one of the amendments in the Bill of Rights. There was a really funny commercial that somebody aired. I can't tell you their name or we'll disappear right away. It's one of those people you can't mention. He ran a great promo for this store that just beeped out about every second or third word and was very enthusiastic. You just had no idea what he was talking about, except that he showed the picture behind himself of the store, and you could see all the boxes and the locked glass display cases with these tools of protection that you may have heard of, and I can't mention them here, of course, because that would be completely unacceptable. So this is all about the things that you can't tell the truth about, and when that happens to you, that you get stopped in doing those things, what's the correct response? What's the best way to do an actual service for the other people and share what you know? And the question really comes down to, how can you tell the truth without, it's like, remember in the old Bruce Lee movie, what I think is the best one of the early ones, Enter the Dragon. And there's this part where he is explaining fighting without fighting. He says, fighting without fighting. And this is like sharing information without sharing any information. And it still has to work. I mean, if you just go through the motions and nothing happens, it's not really worth the time. And I wanted to keep appearing on this channel as a challenge to see if we could do some of that. So again, bottom line, go to lostartsradio.com, look at any links that are below the video here, see all the other channels right now that that you're not supposed to know about, but are still operating and are still not censored. And the question is, okay, what can I tell you in plain English, if anything? And I think it's probably acceptable to the terms of service to say, take care of your children. If you really do that, a lot of the world situations would be taken care of, because I'm saying really protect them. And I have to be very careful what I say about this, because what you mainly have to protect them from is people in institutions that we're all taught from birth to trust with no question. In fact, not only as parents, but in the academic world, you're taught that some of these institutions, questioning them is like blasphemy, and science, which used to be open to questioning everything, including itself, now has devolved into memorizing acceptable material. So if you understand what I mean when I say take care of your kids, you know, there could be bad people running around in ice cream trucks like in Canada right now. I can't tell you what that's about, except it's really happening. It's funded by Canadian tax dollars, or more accurately, borrowing from their central bank based on nothing. And the ice cream trucks are driving around offering a special free service for children. And it involves doing things to their bodies with sharp objects, but it's all okay because it's the government doing it, and the authorities that we all trust, including mostly the health authorities, which can never be questioned and would never say anything that's not true, and are your friends for your whole life, obviously. If you question that, you're bad and probably need to be arrested. I'm not sure. But they're doing that in Canada, and then when the parents see what's going on, some of them find out, and they run over there to try to protect their kids. The police have been ordered to block the parents, so they can't do that. That's what I'm talking about, protecting your kids. You know, because there's all this stuff I can't tell you about. So listen to the Real Lost Arts Radio live show. I hope you'll take a minute to go find it. Anyway, if you teach your kids good values, not by force and punishment, but by love and by showing them what's attractive and good about doing good things and making wise choices, then that means you're protecting your kids by how you're raising them, and not just handing them over to organizations that will teach them how to be insane. That's really not a very good way to protect them. Teach them to take care of their physical bodies, which are actually very important in your life, because you're in a physical body temporarily for the duration of this brief lifetime. And if you keep it in good shape, then your available energy can stay much higher, and you don't have to be subjected to what they call normal aging and falling apart, which is supposed to be what happens to you in what they call the golden years, right? That's when you can't remember anybody's name or who you are, and you can't get up without a big operation to get out of the chair. That's not normal. Okay, that's not normal aging. That's not the golden years. And that's just one little clue about things we assume are true, which are not true, and they're not normal. You have to take the trouble to find out which is which. Teach the kids clear perception and how to think for themselves. Some people call it critical thinking, and I know the New York Times would really support this idea because they ran a great article a few weeks back about how dangerous critical thinking is. And that if you try to do it, you're just setting yourself up to be really confused. So you should let the authorities that are the trusted authorities, the authoritative sources like the New York Times, you should let them make your decisions for you and tell you what to think about and all that. So I'm saying a radical idea here. You might want to, how can I say it? What if one day the New York Times wasn't available to tell you what to do? Would you just have to go crazy, or would your kids just have meltdowns and need to go back to the Play-Doh and crayons and try to get over the stress? Or would they be able to think, even for a short time until the New York Times came back, how to live their own lives? And you might want to teach them about that. But see, the big problem with teaching them about that is you have to know it first. So you have to not live by hypnosis and by just believing and absorbing whatever you hear on the television or the newspapers or the radio. You have to question everything. That's real science. And if the authorities are saying, well, you should be scientific, you can agree with them and say, that's right. And the first premise of science is question everything. Otherwise, how are you going to learn what's going on and what's true and what isn't? So science is really great. It's just been replaced by a new science religion that says, look, here's what you have to believe. This is basically what you learn in school. Here's what to believe. Here's a list of the right beliefs and how to not be attacked by the power structure. Just be willing to say this and we'll give you lots of money and boosting your social media and everything. And here's what not to believe, that it only comes from the bad people. So if you teach your kids the difference, as I say, you're going to have to learn the difference yourself first and not just absorb mainstream media stuff that you're watching. And I can't go into detail, or this wouldn't be the safe stream, but in order to protect your kids from deception, and there is deception going on. I don't want to shock you or anything, but it's so prevalent and all pervasive that here's a case where you have to be really scientific and question absolutely everything. You don't deny it unless you know it's false, but you question it. Say, okay, that might be the case, but let's find out. Doing these things to me might make me really healthy, but before we try it, just so I don't die or anything by making a mistake, let's check out the basis of why you're saying that, the proof of it, because everybody's happy to share whatever proof they've got, instead of just taking what some charismatic TV personality says is true, because what if it's not? They don't suffer for that. You do, or your kids do. And I think it's safe to say, even on the safe stream version, protect your kids from criminals, right? You really should do that your kids would want you to do that. And whether the criminals are private or everybody thinks they're authorities, doesn't matter. It matters what they do, know them by their fruits type thing. And you need to protect yourself and take care of your own body. Don't do dumb things that make you sick and break you down and cause degenerative disease and give you cancer and all kinds of other stuff. That's not a really smart thing to do. Take the work to learn what would be in the owner's manual of your physical body if you had one and knew how to read it, and then follow it. If you protect your body, It's not some dumb, selfish thing to do. It means you're going to be around to help people, including your own kids if you have any. And the birth rate is just about disappearing right now, by the way, just in case you were wondering about that, which is not a mistake at all, but we can't talk about the reasons for that openly unless we go to the main Lost Arts Radio live show. So I invite you to meet me over there. We're going to start that in about 12 minutes right now. And so take care of yourself. It's really the best thing you can do for your kids and for all the people around you who you're affecting. And if you think that you believe this junk you've been told that you don't affect anybody and you're one person out of 8 billion and you don't matter, you can just say, well, that's interesting that that's your opinion, but I don't think that's accurate. You know, you affect everybody, no matter what you do, on very fine levels of related to frequency and things that are talked about in quantum physics. And are really, what I've found out is true. You can find out for yourself. But I found out that those things are really true as far as I can see. So if you want to help anybody else, do the man in the mirror thing or the woman in the mirror thing like the Michael Jackson song. And say, all right, yeah, I'm doing a good job in all these areas. Those I don't have to worry about. Here's one that I'm not. What can I do to change that? It doesn't have to be New Year's Eve or New Year's Day to change something. Besides, those are not usually kept anyway. You set an example by everything that you do, and even the things that people don't hear you say verbally. If you think it, you're affecting everybody. People think, oh, if I just keep my mouth closed, nobody knows what I'm thinking. They may not know consciously, but they're affected by everything that comes out of us. So huge responsibility on us, not a bad kind, but it's like an invitation. People talk about waking up, but what does that mean? Being able to read a list of bad things going on in the world? I don't think so. Anybody can read words like that. It's like awareness of yourself and what you really are, not walking around playing the part of this helpless, weak, unintelligent, powerless being. That's all a bunch of nonsense. So hook onto that energy, not with drugs, but with the way that is much, much stronger than any drug anybody ever thought about. It's inside you now. And remember, you affect everybody. So for all the stuff that I can't say on this program, go to lostartsradio.com, and full shows are posted there, and also on some audio and some video platforms that you can read about there. We have still the Sunday night guest shows that are going on really well, and they're posted where they can be. And again, you can find out about that on lostartsradio.com. Help us spread the links if you want to. It would really be appreciated, because the shadow banning is almost complete. That's probably why we're still allowed to be on at all. So really appreciate your help on that. And if you have financial resources and want to help us out to stay on air that way too, it's appreciated. Donate links are at lostartsradio.com and lostartsresearchinstitute.org. That's our nonprofit. And subscribestar.com/lostartsradio. That'll keep us going. And if we get enough support, it'll enable us to build the school that we're still waiting to do for money. Waiting because of lack of money, not a school for money, although that's an important issue too. All these things go together, and there's a lot to share. So stay in touch. And Sunday night, that's tomorrow at this time that I'm talking live, we have an old friend, G. Edward Griffin, coming on the Lost Arts Radio Sunday night show. You might like to join us. That's at 6 o'clock Pacific time on Sunday and 9 o'clock Eastern. But the archive will be available right after it, so you can come anytime. And stay in touch. Comment forms, contact forms are at lostartsradio.com as well. And always nice to hear from you. Show suggestions and questions, comments, things like that. We'll get to them as fast as we can. I just, repeat this over and over again because I think it's really true that you personally, not the whole generic audience out there, but you personally are the key to what's going to happen to us in the future. And you don't go changing that by going and try to force everybody else to change. The effective secret way to do that few people talk about, is change yourself. If you really do that, you affect everybody. Massive impact. And you're not supposed to know about that, but it's really true. It's not just something to make yourself feel more comfortable. It's powerful. So find out about that if you're brave enough. Upgrade yourself. Don't wait till the end of your life and look back and say, wow, I wish I would have done that back in 2021. You are back in 2021 now, so do it now. And I'm going to get ready for the main Lost Arts Radio live show, but I'll meet you back here in a week. Have a good weekend, and thanks for being here. I really appreciate you. Talk to you soon.